today what we'll be doing is we'll be exploring Tableau data connection modification. So you might be aware that if you want to connect to a certain data source in Tableau, we have to create a data connections. And today in this session, we'll be exploring what are the various options that we have to modify a data connection in Tableau. So these are concepts that which we are already familiar with, but the techniques that the Tableau uses are little different on the same core concepts. So we'll explore all these things by covering first the core concepts what we are about to discuss. So when we talk about modification of data connections, it's nothing but if you have two tables and you want to bring together the data in these two tables as a single table or single data source to Tableau, what you can do. So one straightforward thoughts that might come to our head is like union. We can obviously do union, we can do joins. These are the two ways, right? Now obviously union is very simple one. If you have the same table structure in A and B and having the similar data, you can quickly union. There's nothing much to discuss on the union side. But Tableau has a lot of what we say different options when it comes to joins. So today in this session we'll mainly focusing on joins, not on unions. So let me tell what I mean. So coming to joins, though the core concept, Tableau has actually various modification techniques based on joins. Okay, though the core concept is join itself, but Tableau has various sorts of data connection modifications. Some are directly called as joins, some are known as blends, some are known as relationships. So today we'll explore what's the difference between all these three and which one is better in which situation. So first let's see the data which we are about to deal, and let's get back. So for today we'll be taking a simple data just for understanding purposes of the concepts in data connection modifications. So I have two tables. In table A I have state level population. So I have for 3 states what is the population in terms of crores. Okay, and I have 3 states in this table, and on the second table I have state wise number of bus stations. Okay, bus stops. So in each of the state in different cities, what are the different bus stops, and likewise. So I have 3 states here as well. One point to note, there is one particular state in each of these tables that is not present in other state. For example, the Maharashtra here is not present in the first table, and AP here is not present in the second table. Let's come back to that in a while. So these are the two tables that we'll be working with, and let's see. Let's go back to Tableau and explore these concepts of joins and blends a little further. So first, I've connected to that Excel sheet that which we just saw, and these are my two tables. And what I'll do is, just so you know, from Tableau 2020.1 onwards, there is something called when you come to a data source page, on the right side of the top view pane, this is called the view pane. You'll have some mechanism called logical layer and physical layer. The one that you see on the top, it's known as logical layer, and once you double click on that, you'll be drilling down to the physical layer, and all the joins will be done in the physical layer itself. So first, since we are exploring joins, I'll come to physical layer, and I've clubbed these two tables as a left join on the state population table. Now I'll go to a new sheet, and I'll create a simple cross step saying what is the total population in each state and how many bus stops are there in each state. So I'll pull my state field. Okay, and I'll pull my population into text. Actually, let's do this state field, and so this is since it's on my I'm doing a left join, I'm bringing the state field from my left table, which is state population, and my and I pull out the population from the same table, and I want a number of bus stops in each of the state. Yeah, expand this for you. Yeah, if you clearly notice one thing, there are two measures that we are seeing at one is the number of bus stops in each state, and the other one is the population. So if you see the numbers for Tamil Nadu and Telangana, the population is saying something like 110 crore and 160 crore, which is not actually the case. If we go back to the Excel sheet that which we have in Telangana and Tamil Nadu, we have 10 and 20 crore population respectively in each. But here we can see in Telangana it's showing 110, and here Tamil Nadu it's showing 160. And this is the normal problem that we face when we deal with the joins. And this is happening because the tables that we are trying to join are at two different level of details. Okay. The first table, the state population table, is at a state level, and the second table that which we want to join is at a not at a state level but a much granular level of a particular bus stop in a city in a state. So when we join, what's happening, these two tables, obviously there's only one linking field, which is a state, and when you join on that, what's happening here is if we come to the data source, I've joined on state population as my left table, and if you can see in Telangana there are 11 bus stops. Okay, 5 from each from different cities, 11 bus stops, and for each of these 11 records my population in Telangana is duplicating. Therefore, when I pull a simple sum of population and for Telangana state, it will take the sum of all these duplicated values as well, and it's giving me instead of it's giving me 110 instead of 10 crore population, and likewise for Tamil Nadu. So it's therefore the values are wrong in those states. But whereas in AP I do not have any bus stops data. In the second table I don't have any data related to AP. Therefore there is no chance for this particular record to duplicate itself. So there's only one record that's been pulled out in the final data source, and the number is accurate for that particular number or that particular state. So this is the issue, and this is very common issue in Tableau. People normally know a lot of ways to solve this issue. One simple way is to create a level of detail expression, fixed population at a level that which you want. So for example, fixed I want to calculate this at a state and get just average population. The reason I'm taking average is since I know for each state if there is a duplication it will only be the same value. By taking an average I'll get the single value instead of all those duplicate values. So I'll do this and I'll pull that into text, and I'll get the right values. That's okay. So the reason but the point that here we need to note is when the tables that you're trying to join are different level of different granularity, you will get into this issue. The data that we are dealing with today is very simple and clean data, but oftentimes when you're working on client data it will be very complex, and it may not be the fixed calculation that you might have to write will be very complicated or time consuming. Or to even complicate the issue, you might not only have single join, but you could have multiple joins with 4 to 5 tables. That will even complicate the entire process of getting resolving this duplicates issue using fixed calculation methods. So that is the issue in joins. Now let's see what is blends and how it can help in this sort of situation. blends, if you are familiar with blends, so how do you do it is basically you will have to introduce each of the tables that which you want to put together or append as a separate data source here. So earlier in joins I had both the tables which I'm interested in single data source. So when I'm meaning data source, I'm considering the data source to the Tableau. So in a single data source I have both the tables, but when you want to blend two tables, you need to have those two tables in separate data sources. So for example, here I have both of those tables, state-wise population and state-wise number of bus stops, as two different data sources. Now I'll blend between these two. Okay, let me start with my primary data source with this one, and I'll actually let me do the same as earlier. I'll pull the state from this particular field. I'll get the 3 states, and I'll pull population, fair and square. Now I'll pull automatically when I go to the secondary data source, Tableau will detect any possible connections, or Tableau what it likes to call them as linking fields. So it will detect all the linking fields that are potentially possible between the two data sources, and it will automatically link. If you have multiple possibilities of linking fields, you can choose which one you want to link on and which one you don't want to link on by just clicking on and off on this link button. And now let's pull the count distinct bus stop as well. So here there is no issue, right? We haven't found any duplicate number of issues. Earlier we were seeing in Telangana and Tamil Nadu, we are seeing some big numbers for population, whereas here it's not. Let's just quickly switch the blend and see if it will work in other ways as well. So let me use this one as primary data source and pull my state again. Now we have Maharashtra, which is present in the secondary data source, and now I'll just pull my count distinct bus stops, and now I'll pull my population here. So here as well, just like this is my left join between this table and this table, and even in this case my population is decent enough. So without any fixed calculations or any further maintenance work, so Tableau in blends, it's intelligent enough to identify the different granularity between the tables that you are trying to blend in, and it will show you either the aggregated values or the split up values based on the linking field which you create. Hope this is clear. But blend, though it provides an advantage over joins in terms of duplicate data issue, people normally, if you ask anyone in Tableau community, they would try to avoid blends for as much as possible. Only in the circumstances where there's no other way, they would go with data blends. And that is because normally when you build for 1 or 2 visualizations, people can easily go with blends, but when you are trying to build a dashboard or a story with several lot of visualizations, the blend becomes a little complicated to work with. The reason being, the filters, the way they work between the blended data sources is little not easy to work with. For example, let me explain what I meant by that. So let's see another example data for the same case. Okay. Let's say I have this Excel sheet. Okay, let's hide this for now. Let's say I have a school data related to number of teachers and number of students. And here in this first sheet which we are seeing, we have for each school, in each class, what is the number of teachers. Okay, we have 3 different schools and different classes for each of the schools. First class school C, we have only from class 6 to class 10, and likewise. For number of students in the same number of schools and same classes, what is the number of students in each of those classes? So this is the data which we have. Let's quickly connect these in Tableau and try and blend between these two things. So I have again both of those sheets. I have them here. Let's blend between these two things to see, and let me demonstrate the issue with the filters and blends. Okay, so let me pull up just number of two fields, number of students, and from here I'll link on class. So since there are two common fields, which is school and class, Tableau is asking me to showing me the option to connect between these two links. Let me just, for the time being, to demonstrate the issue that I'm talking about, let me just link on the class field and not link on the school name. And I'll pull up the number of teachers into text. Okay, let me quickly go to the Excel sheet, and number of students is 706, which is right, and the number of teachers I have is 179. And if I go to Tableau, it's showing right. So let me pull this like this. So okay, now let's say you want to filter on school. Okay, I'll use school and filters, and I'll, for the time being, let's select all of them. Okay, now let's say I want, obviously when you build a dashboard, you would want to give the user ability to filter out in various fields and drill down to the level that they want to see. Now let's say if the user wants to look at only one particular school, okay, let's say I would say only school C. Okay, and let's see the numbers, if they are working on this particular field, if they're working well or not. So number of students, it's saying 146. Okay, let me check that. And number of teachers, it's saying 104. Okay, let me go back here. Number of students for school C, right? Number of students for school C is 146, which is right. Now let me check for number of teachers in school C. Number of teachers in school C, if you see, we have only 42 teachers in school C, whereas the Tableau is showing me 104 teachers. So this is the issue that we might come across in Tableau data blends. So when your filter is supposed to work across the related data sources, the number of students, it's showing 146 accurately because my filter is coming from the same table which is displaying number of students, which is holding number of students data. My number of teachers is coming from a related data source, not from the same data table where this filter is there. That is the reason this number is going off. We will come why is it going off, but yeah, this is the issue when we are working with the filters, and these filters are supposed to work cross database on a related databases. These sort of issues we should be aware of that it might occur into. And why, now let's see why this is showing 104 instead of the actual number of 42. And the reason is this. So these are the two tables that we have, students and teachers. And when you filter on this particular table, so you're filtering on this table with school C, okay, and your class is the linking field between these two data tables. We only linked on the class, right? We only linked on the class. So, and my filter is school C, and obviously for school C, it means it will only see the students for these students. So my number is 146, which is fair and square, right? Now, in order to get the number of teachers, the only way that we provided Tableau to to relate these two data sources for any transaction or operation is this particular class field. So for filters also, Tableau will come to this particular field to filter out the secondary data source as well. So what it will do is, okay, you want me to filter on class C, so I will take what are the values in the linking field from the primary data source, and those are these. So for class C on the linking field, these are the values that you want to filter according to the filter that you put on school. So I will look for all these values in class B, so which is nothing but this one, and this one. So in table B, for number of teachers, it will sum up all the teachers from all these classes for each and every school. So it's not only filtering for school C, but rather since there is only link on class B, it will filter for school A and B as well. So for these values, if we see the sum, it's 104, which is what Tableau is showing us. So yeah, working on blends, this would be the issue. So oftentimes what will happen is in real life data, so here we were able to, since it's a simple data and created data, we were able to see both the fields to link in the secondary data source. If I just link on school name as well, my problem will be resolved, 42 and 106. But oftentimes you will not have the ability to have all the fields in multiple data sources. What I'm trying to say is, so the rule is here, this one. If you want to filter on something, and that filter should work on across all the related data sources, make sure that particular field is available to link for all of the data sources. Okay, I'm filtering on school name and when I'm not giving school name as a filter, it's showing me wrong value. But when I'm giving school name as the link, it's showing the right value. So that is the rule. So if you want to filter across related data sources, make sure that particular field is a linking field between all the related data sources. But that very rarely happens in the real life cases, where you have only one field, in only one table you have a field, and that's not present in the secondary data source. If it's not present in the secondary data source, you cannot link there. And in that case, if a user wants to filter on that particular field, your blend will not be able to give you cannot use blend to build the dashboard or visualizations. So this is the reason why people normally avoid blends. So the way about to go in those sort of cases is, people write complex SQL queries to build these two tables together as one table in SQL itself, and bring that build table to Tableau to avoid these sort of situations. So hope the issue with the blend is clear. Now let's move on to relations. Relationships is something that was introduced in the latest versions of Tableau. Let's see what it is. And let's work on the same data as earlier, the bus stops data. We've seen that and that. So here, okay. So earlier in joins, we worked on physical table, right? So we came here and we did some joins and worked here. In blends, we created multiple data sources and blended on the sheets itself here, blend 1 and blend 2. In relations, we work with the logical tables. So these are the logical tables, and I've just so let me redo this again. So I'll pull this over here, and I'll pull this over here, and there's the connection, that red line that you see, it's called a noodle. It represents the relationship between these two tables. And as soon as you drop these two, Tableau will ask for a linking field here as well. So one thing that is common between join, blend, and relationships, if you want to do either of these three operations, you need to have a linking field, common field between the data sources which you want to join. Obviously, there is only state field which is common, so I'll select this and let the build the relations between these two tables. Now one notice, if you observe, the resultant the data pane on the below, it's not clubbing the data so from the both the tables. So as of now it's only showing the bus stop state data set, and when I select this one, it's showing me the population data set. So this is the change in relationship with respect to join. In joins, when you do a join, the join is fixed. That means immediately you can see the result and you cannot change the join in the sheets. Whereas in relationships, the join is not built. You will provide the link on which you have to join, but the Tableau doesn't do the join right away. It will wait for your visualization to wait for you to go to the sheet and develop the visualization, and Tableau will automatically decide which join should I use based on the linking field that which you have provided earlier. Up until then it will not join, therefore you'll be able to see separate data sources. So the joining is deferred here up until the visualization is built. Let's observe the same. Okay, let's say I pull my state field from here. Okay, now if you see the values here, I'm having Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Telangana. These values tell me that currently my Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Telangana are only present in secondary table, which is the bus stops table. So now the join is working as a right join, if you can understand. So that's why my Maharashtra is coming and Tamil Nadu and Telangana is coming by, but my AP, which is present in the left table, is not coming. Now let me pull population in crores here. Now if you see my since I'm pulling the value from the left table, okay, now Tableau automatically changed from right join to the full outer join. So if you can see, my 9 crore is also present. Let me pull my state from here to see that AP. Now it has again changed. That Maharashtra is now left. That means from full outer join, now it's changed to left join. So if we see in couple of clicks, I was able to change the join from right join, full outer join to left join. And let me pull number of bus stops as well. Now it has again gone back to full outer join because I'm pulling the values from both the fields. So in joins and blends, you'll not be able to see. So this is the result with the join. We were unable to see Maharashtra's data just because my join is left join, and in the left table I don't have Maharashtra. Even if I change this to right join, I'll be missing the AP's related data. But in relationships, it will not happen like that. So it will show you both the data that is present in the first table and data that is present in the last table. So this is the, any questions so far? Okay. So this is the advantage with the joins and I'm sorry, the relationships. And as you can see, in joins we face duplicate data issue, right? Here in relationships it's also taken care of, and all the additional filtering stuff issues that which we faced in blend need not be faced in relationships as well. So these are the advantage, so comparisons between joins, blends and relationships. Now people after knowing this comparison might tend to prefer relationships for a lot of reasons, but that is not necessary. So this is a one particular example that which I have built to compare the working of each of these techniques, joins, blends and relationships. But you should know when you should use relationships and blends and joins. You can easily go with joins if your data source, the tables that you're trying to append are at the same granularity. They are not of two different granularity. Then joins will not create a duplicate data issue, and you will be able to work fine with the joins itself. But in relationships, you should have to work with the relationships when you know that there is definitely a different level of detail or granularity in the two tables that you're trying to join, and then relationships is the better option for you. That being said, let me just give few more comparisons point between these techniques, and let's close. For example, when you do joins, if I go to joins data source and see here, the join is fixed. When I mean fixed, it's basically left join here, and the result is right away displayed. So for whatever the join that you have selected, the result is fixed, and it will not change with the whatever by the way that you build the visualization. In relations, we have seen for every drag and drop, my join is being changing, but here in joins it's fixed, it will not change. So and that has its own advantage. I'll come to that in a minute. Since in joins the resultant is fixed, you can extract it. Okay, there's a chance that you can extract it, but in relationships, since the join is not fixed, okay, you cannot extract it. Okay, because when you do an extract, it will only, you need a fixed output to extract it. But in relationships, there is no fixed output until and unless your visualization is fixed. If you keep changing your visualization, your output will keep on changing, and your extract you'll have to always, for each drag and drop, you have to come and re-extract the process. So that's physically not possible in relationships to do with the extract. And one other comparison between blends and relationships is in blends, if you see here, blend 1 and blend 2, this blend connection is not for the entire data source. Okay, this whatever the blend relationship that you the blend connection that you create is only specific to that particular sheet. So if you want to create another visualization with a similar blend, you have to build that connection again, and this connection will only be specific to this sheet. And because of that, another disadvantage for blends is you cannot publish, since the data connection remains only in a worksheet, you cannot publish that to a Tableau online or Tableau public. So if you want to publish that data source to a Tableau online and Tableau public, you should need that at a data source level, not at a worksheet level. At a workbook level, not at a worksheet level. Since this information related to this specific blend is only present in this sheet, you cannot share it with the others on Tableau online or Tableau public. Whereas in relationships, it's not as worksheet specific, it's a data source specific. Just like joins, you will be able to share joins and relationships on a Tableau online or Tableau public. And yeah, so those are the few comparison points between joins, blends, and relationships. If you have any questions related to these, you can let me know. We'll discuss them.
Yes.
Go ahead, Akhil.
If you have two visualizations, where we're using relation, data sheets. One is like left join centric, and another visualization is right join centric. Then what's going to be the end result? Like, which one it will choose?
So if you have two visualizations, let's say you have built in visualization 1, you built in sheet 1, you have built visualization 1. There the relation will act like a left join. When you go to sheet 2, the left join which was created in the first sheet is specific to only that sheet. Okay, in the second sheet, Tableau is again looking for what type of join should I create for this for the visualization user is creating in this sheet. So it can be possible that you have left join relation in the first sheet and right join relation in the second sheet based on the visualization that you're trying to make. Is that the question that you asked?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So then in that case, relation will be sheet specific, right? Like based on each sheet.
See, when I meant sheet specific, it's not there's a difference here. So relationships are dynamic with I didn't put it in right way. Relationships are dynamic with sheets, but not as sheet specific as blend 1 and 2. So if you see the blend 1 and 2 connection, you have to, for every sheet that you change, you have to come and specify the connection. For blend 1 and blend 2, you have to come and click here, right? For each visualization. Whereas you're not doing the same for relationships. You have just did the connection. Once you drop these two, and it'll ask for your connection, right? Which field that you want to connect. So let me close that. So state-wise population. So as soon as I do this, see, this is the connection that I'm talking about. It will ask you at a data source level, not at a for every sheet to sheet level, right? But in blend, you have to do that on a sheet to sheet basis. That's what I mean when there are different sheet specific on blends. I hope it is clear.
Can we say, in case if you want to make multiple visualization at different joints, we can go for relationship, right?
Yes, you have to go for relationships only.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. On performance standpoint, which one is best? That's what you're asking, huh?
Yeah.
I would at this point in time, I don't know much about that particular point. Which one is more performance oriented? But for simple data sets, I don't think you should be able to notice much difference in any of these joins or blends or relationships. They should be able to work fine. But yeah, I'll have to look a little bit into it, and I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
So relationships are they editable during a visualization?
No. So the connection that which you specify while creating a relationship in the data source page will remain fixed.
Okay.
So yeah, based on that connection only, Tableau will dynamically shift between different types of joins based on the visualization, but you will not be able to change the linking fields itself. And in fact, that is the what we say, that is the feature that gives the ability that distinguishes the relationship from blend, and gives the ability for relationships to be able to be shared on Tableau online rather than unlike blending.
Okay.
Okay.